Oh, someone's got the fancy background today.
I'm trying to trying to be like you. I'm trying to be like you.
I
And
used that one for a while.
like I gotta step it up because Ryan looking like he's
I
already in
gotta.
space. How have you been, man?
Oh, it's fucking tired.
I know, I know, I know.
Fucking parenthood, Jesus Christ, man.
What's going on with the little one? Not so little
Well,
one.
God, I know he's like what 2 months away from me in two.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so big. It's so big. So big. Little goofball is doing just fine.
Right on. Yeah, kids be kids. It's so funny. This time went by so damn fast as usual.
Right.
Um, I'm gonna try to do right this time and do a proper introduction.
Can't get out of practice now.
Right. I'm Jay, and tonight I have with me actual Star Wars version of Lone Wolf and Cub, Ryan.
Hello, fellow humans.
Hello.
I would like to be very, very clear with the audience at home. My mother is alive and well.
Yeah.
My dad did not have to travel with me in a backpack as a lost Ronin.
Oh no, I'm talking no. I'm talking about you and your little one.
Oh,
No.
also my wife is alive and well. He is my biological son. He's our biological son. He's not an orphan that I have taken under my wing to protect because I need to go through some personal growth.
It's a shame. It's a shame that I can't do a metaphor.
Let me just kill the joke. Let me
You
just
know what? You know
murder the
what?
joke the second
No.
it leaves your lips.
No, it's funny. No, it's not you, but it's the truth because it could be taken literally. Because almost like if you're gonna use that, then it must mean all the other stuff. Versus, I just mean going through this journey as a person who loves Star Wars with your little one by your side. I just took it out like that. It doesn't match up or parallel perfectly, but the sentiment of just like that father and the son, and he's going to lead his way. And even though
In a
the
life of
father,
violence.
right, even though the father is leading the way, he's learning a lot from the young one as well. And they kind of teach each other as they go along on the journey. That's how I meant it. But I'm glad you broke it down just in case, because people be like, "Oh, poor Ryan. I'm sorry for your loss and your rough life." uh, oh
God,
boy.
at this point, don't ask me to swing a sword. My shoulders still don't work properly.
Oh man. Oh man. You still recovering?
Every time I'm like, okay, I think maybe I'll just do some light workout and
Yeah.
be like, I'll just use a chopstick in my like fucking elbows. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that gesture. And I'm like, God damn it, how am I gonna do fucking longsword?
Wow.
So anyway, I at least get to go help out at an in-house tournament next Saturday, so at least I
All
can help
right.
out.
Too cool. Too cool. All right. So, like I said, we're back again for another one, and we are in season 3 of The Mandalorian. What's the official name of this episode?
The Apostate.
The Apostate.
Because just like you, when you're like, hey, I need like 30 minutes, I'm gonna go rewatch the episode. I was like, good fucking idea.
You know what's funny? Okay. And so I gave you a text and I was like wondering, because sometimes, it depends on how it goes. We kind of scout out the first episode and then we kind of discuss what's going to be the plan of action.
Right.
Depending on the show and the way it's cut up, it depends. Sometimes, it's just a setup. It's pretty much not necessarily a lot to speak upon because certain things, the story is simple, but they might be nuanced out, and you might love the stuff that's going on, but it's not necessarily a lot of stuff going on. And some stuff is just so much stuff. It's just like, okay, we gotta get in each episode and break this down because it gets too dense too quick. You
Right.
can't keep
We'll be
stacking
overwhelmed.
them. Right. So you gotta take small bites. And so this one, as much as I dug it, I thought it was pretty simple, but it did have a lot of nuances in there. And so when you said that you got something to say and let's talk about it, then I'm like, okay, let's dig in, because really there is a lot of room to kind of, discuss and bring stuff out. But I did think it was a short episode, and I think it was just enough of an appetizer to get you for the taste of what you're going to be having in this meal of season 3. As far as he's continuing his journey to make things right so he could go back into the fold of the Mandalorians.
Yes. And one of the issues that I kind of had, like, watching it the first time, was there's the scene early on where he goes back to the armor, and we'll talk about the thing that happened before it outside the cave. Goes back to the armor in her cave. She's like, you took your helmet off, blah 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 blah. And first time I watched, I'm like, why are we rehashing this? And it's like, okay, right, because that whole thing of you took your mask off, you fucked up, you need to atone. Hey, how can I atone? Well, you go back to the mines of Mandalore, bathe in the waters, then you could be a Mandalorian again, and it'll be cool. Okay. But it's like, not everyone probably, because that was in Book of Boba Fett. That whole thing happened in Book of Boba Fett. Which, again, was the best part of Boba Fett.
I was about to say, it saved it saved the show.
But for people that didn't also watch Boba Fett, the scene still works even if you're like, had watched the Book of Boba Fett. It wasn't a straight rehash of that scene, because they're restating things, but also the undertone that I got, or the subtext from the armor, was like, why are you here? You're an apostate, right? What are you doing? And he sort of restated full of it, do the thing. She's like, you can't do the thing though, like the whole thing is like, you can't go to Mandalore, it's poisoned. Right. It's like, well, someone got this off of Mandalore. Is this actually from Mandalore? Like, yeah, exactly. It looks like it's actually from Mandalore. It's like, well, yeah, it looks like the surface got fusion glassed, got nuked. It's like, yeah, that's bad. But someone was on the planet and brought this back from Mandalore. So is it poisoned? Question mark. Maybe I can still do my quest that you gave me.
Right.
So it works. It works. Like it wasn't like, it was like, okay, there is a thing where it's like the characters, Jin and the armor, have a reason to be having that conversation that isn't just like, we need to restate like what happened in the last episode on a different show. Right. And it worked.
Do you feel that they should have did an episode 0 where they could have combined those 2 episodes that they had, or did a re-edited version, kind of summing it up, to have that as a starter for this, instead of doing this little slight rehash? Because to me, even though it was summed up nicely, I think that you would have definitely got more out of seeing that stuff actually happen the way we did. Or because it might be a thing where they want you to go back and watch Book of Boba Fett. So if that's the case, you have to go back to get it from the source instead of here. But I wouldn't have minded, like I said, a re-edited version, or those episodes, kind of, like I said, episode 0, and kind of, be the start of the new season in a way.
Well, I think really the only thing from the Boba Fett episodes that were about Mando that haven't been summarized, rehashed, referenced, is him struggling to wield the Darksaber, which is the other thing that happened in his interactions with the armorer.
Right.
If that's going to be relevant again, I would not be surprised if they just did a previously, but it's a previously from the Boba Fett show, and they show him struggling with that. Because otherwise, you gotta are we just gonna piecemeal like huge chunks of those episodes into a episode 0?
Okay, I guess if the Book of Boba Fett was what we had
Good.
hoped it to be. You're being okay. Okay, that's what I mean. Okay, if it was good, it would be no question about if somebody saw it or not. You know, but the fact that how it went is kind of like if you didn't get the memo to go back, it's good now. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that that great episode was in between all that sandwich between that mess.
Right.
You know, that mess that me and you did a great conversation about for the whole season. So we were probably the best part of of that show. So go back to listen to our past episodes. They are hilarious with a lot of insight. But yeah, I don't know if people would even have known that those episodes was inside, mixed in that sandwich.
The thing is, even if you don't go and watch those, it's like, oh, if you just watch this scene between him and the armor here, it's like you took your helmet off, which happened in Mandalorian season 2. So everyone at least knows what she's talking about. Yeah. But her just being like, you fucked up. You fucked up, buddy. Yeah. Like, you're not allowed to do that, which is like a whole thing that's established within this show repeatedly. It's a big deal. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's got to go do the thing. And you could just watch this and be like, oh, okay. So he's got to do a thing and not realize there was a whole side thing in the Book of Boba Fett. But also, he has a different ship. Like, his ship is clearly different. Like, Grogu's wearing the Mandalorian armor underneath, the chainmail armor. Yeah. Like, I was like, ooh, I can see that. So there's things where it's like, wait, what happened to his old ship? Like, you could just be like, oh, okay, things changed. I wonder why. And it's probably like you do like half a minute search and like, oh, you gotta go watch the fucking Book of Boba Fett, or just read an explainer video that's like, here's what you need to know, because there's 1,001 of those videos. So I don't think they're terribly worried about it. For anyone coming in cold, they're like, oh, got it. He's on a quest. Okay. And that's his buddy. Okay.
Yeah. I just think they were some badass episodes, and I hope that people knew to. But you know what? I guess the people who's into it, we would know to go and watch anyway. But
I wouldn't be kind of surprised if, like, I see they do this with the Marvel movies and stuff, where they'll put together a themed set. Right? Just like, here's all the Thor movies, or here's all this. They could just do the Mando thing, and it's just like, here's season 1, here's season 2, here's like a few episodes in the Book of Boba Fett, you just skip the rest, and then here's season 3. They could do that if they want to. True that. So the very first scene, the armor's in the cave,
ceremony,
wasting a bunch of screen time.
You are funny. Wait.
I'm a little salty on this episode. I'm gonna be clear. So anyway, she's forging a helmet, Mandalorian helmet. All right, cool. Goes outside, and there's a whole bunch of Mandalorians. Clearly, some ceremony. There's a kid in Mando kit, except for the helmet that she's bringing out to him. It's like, oh, clearly he's gonna get anointed as a Mandalorian for the creed, blah blah blah. And first time I watched it, I'm like, is this Jin? Is this Mando? Is this a flashback?
That's what I thought as well.
I think it's intentionally set up that way. Yeah. It's like, you could mistake this kid. He's like 10, 12?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
He's young and with a squeaky voice. And even the other big Mandalorian with the fucking chain gun thing, he's there, and I'm like, oh wait, is that guy that old that he was big dude when Mando was a kid? So anyway,
because you wouldn't know because they're armored up, so you can't. There's no wrinkles when you got the
There's no like, oh, their outfits are different.
Exactly.
And then that entire fight with the lake monster.
You talking about the alligator turtle? The turtle gator? Gator turtle?
The thing is like, it just didn't work on me. It didn't work on me. And all I kept saying is, keep retreating, you morons. Like, that, in my head, I was just like, every time they try and do a thing, more of them get pulled in close to the death beast that
Yeah.
none of their things are hurting. Just keep retreating. There's a cave. Go in the cave. Everyone's just kind of standing around like idiots. Oh, we're gonna do jetpacks. It was, oh, we got to do something exciting out of the gate.
Yeah.
That's totally the vibe, because like it served no other purpose.
So even though it was kind of fun action, it was at the sake of the competency of our heroes. I think we talked about this before.
With the Wakandans.
We talked about this before. How you're trying to do something, but it's like if it's not done correctly, you can make these badass characters seem very incompetent. And I felt like, especially with that whole scream when they get thrown around, and I'm thinking like, these are, these guys, they would know better than to not tether themselves to a giant alligator that is going to turn and spin. And it was just
we are,
what are you guys doing?
30th the weight of that thing, and we're going to tether ourselves to it. Totally. If there's like 4 of us on each side, that'll totally hold the thing down. Dude,
so I was thinking, like, what are they doing? They couldn't survive this long making moves like that. That's what I was thinking. It's just like, okay.
The thing is, like, I liked at one point that the armor was like actually giving commands. Like, she's clearly in charge, and it was like, get the younglings inside, but then that was it, and there was it was just chaos, and it made them look dumb. Which, after the big sort of, I think it was season 1 when the Mandalorian enclave was like, yeah, no, we're here, fuck you guys, and like kicked all the pirates or whatever it was it the stormtroopers? I forget at this point, but they kicked them all out of the town.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking cool. That was dope.
Yeah.
But this was kind of like, what is this, fucking amateur hour? Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. But it was basically so Mando could save the day. But I did like the kind of full circle thing of it in a way, as far as seeing the ceremony, because we know that's a big deal with him and him breaking that oath, and to see how that oath would have looked and what he went through.
And it's also repeating the whole thing. You don't take your fucking helmet
off. Exactly.
Don't take the helmet off.
So I thought it was neat that it had that part in it. I'm glad you said you thought that about the beginning too, because I couldn't tell if it was a flashback either, and I'm thinking like, should I have fell for that? Because when Mando flew up, it's like, oh, of course. But then I was thinking like, well, you never know, because you don't know how a show is done. You don't know. Like I said, they would think about details and make the people look smaller because it's in the past, or to change the I don't know. They leave the costumes to look the same to have it consistent, so you have to wonder about who each person is. So it's a lot that goes into things, and you don't, like I said, you don't know what's on purpose or what's incompetent, and until you watch and you would be like, okay, that's what that was. So, but like I said, for you to feel the same way and kind of wonder about that too, that does make me feel better, because I was
and honestly, if like all the other components of that scene and leaning up to the one afterwards, their discussion between Jin and the armor, if just the fight had been done in a different way, it could have been like fucking badass. Like, even if the kid had done something small, but critical, that would have been like, 20 different ways they could have done it.
Yeah, I will say the best shot that I saw was one of the Mandalorians was on the beast, and he had put a bomb on him and jetpacked off. And you saw the version from the top of his helmet,
right?
And you
could see, looking up.
Yeah, and you could see behind him, underneath his body where the beast was, and it was that kind of shot where his head is steady, but everything in the background is moving a little bit. And it was like a quick shot, but it was like, oh, that's a dope, clean shot. But all the rest of it wasn't really worth it, because it was just showing how silly they were. Because even if they were even tactical against something so big and crazy, even if they moved a certain kind of way against it, it would have said a lot. Like you said, even retreating, even though it would be like not as dramatic, it would make more sense for them. Especially with the big old Gatling gun and stuff that didn't do anything.
Well,
it was just a lot.
My brain is like, they misused the jetpacks, because they're like, get in the sky. Okay, it can't hit us. But there's, I don't know the name of it. hell, you might know. There's a type of military maneuver where, like, usually you have multiple fire teams, and you have one fire team that's in position, and they start sending fire downrange.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows, hopefully, to pin down the enemy so that the next team can move forward.
Right.
They get in position, they're in cover, they start sending fire down range, and then the first team is able to then also, and they just leapfrog, right? But the Mandalorians got fucking jetpacks, and they could reverse leapfrog, where it's like you just like have the armor like wave 1, wave 2, boom, 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 and like the Gatling gun guy is part of that because he's the heavy machine gun,
right?
And it might be one of those things where like the heavy machine gun guy got knocked over because like the crocodile thing spins and hits him with his tail and lands next to the kid, and the kid grabs the Gatling thing, can't even pick it up, but just turns it and points it right at like this.
Yeah, and again, swat out the sky. Like, you didn't have to be that close in the first place, and you're quicker than that.
Right.
So
use range.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, stop
that
fucking seat apart.
But yeah, so it's interesting.
I gotta take my jacket off. I'm getting hot.
And it's funny because I guess I didn't read the room when you said you wanted to talk about it. I didn't know. I thought, oh, okay. I don't know. Okay, but hey, it is what it is, and yeah, so we both kind of felt the same about it.
Let me put these things out there first. The show has the same visual production quality as it's had in the past. Honestly, the writing's the same quality. Like, I've just got some quibbles. And we'll get into them.
Yeah, and so after his visit and saving the day and getting us up to date on his what's been going on and what his mission is, he takes off again, and he's in hyperdrive. And
oh yes, the biggest fucking Easter egg.
So you got to explain to me, because I know Grogu, he didn't take a nap, so he was just up there kind of, I guess just looking starscape and just kind of looking around and everything. And in hyperspace, you could kind of see like these squid-like creatures. Like, if they were small, it would have been exact creatures he would have been eating.
Oh,
it would have been something he would have eaten if they were a smaller version. But these things were huge, like whales, but they looked like more like squids.
That is the right scale.
Wow.
That is the right scale. So
what's up with those? What are they?
They're called Kurgil, which I looked up 20 minutes ago. I've actually seen, where they come from in continuity. So the Rebels animated TV show, this is where I think they first make their on-screen appearance. There might have been like old legend lore about hyperspace creatures or something like that, but they're basically space whales.
Okay.
It's Star Wars, it's space whales. And they can actually fly through hyperspace.
Okay.
Naturally. And so supposedly, or at least it's established in lore for the Rebel show, is like that's how some of the first civilizations actually like figured out that hyperspace was possible, because of these creatures.
That's kind of cool, because we do use things of nature to kind of cheat with the designs of planes and cars and things like that. Okay, all right.
So the other thing, that the real sort of tease here is this is a tease for the Ahsoka show, because what happens in Rebels, spoilers for the show that's been out like 5 years at this point, is that the young sort of Jedi in training main character Ezra Bridger, he stops some people, because some people are like, these things are hazards, because supposedly ships crash into them in hyperspace or blah blah blah. So some people are like, fuck those things. He's like, no, let's be cool. And then through the Force, he's like, oh, they're friendly, that's cool. And in the climax of the whole like last season, they're in a battle with Grand Admiral Thrawn, and to sort of save the day, Ezra calls in these space whales, and they grab Thrawn's Star Destroyer that Ezra and Thrawn are on, and he asks them to pull the ship into hyperspace, away from the Rebel fleet, which is about to get fucked, I think is the rough summation.
Okay.
And so that's it. Ezra disappears. Thrawn disappears. And Ahsoka was part of that crew at the time. And I think the sort of like the last scene in Rebels is Hera, who's sort of the leader of that crew. And is it Hera? I forget. It's one of the other members of the crew with Ahsoka and being like, we're going to go get Ezra. And so presumably Ahsoka is on board with that, because that is why when she is introduced in season 2 of Mandalorian, is everyone following along now?
And that's when the grow.
She's all about finding Thrawn. Where's Admiral Thrawn? So presumably she's still trying to figure out what happens. Ezra. So I don't know if his role's been cast. There's been a lot of speculation. I think there is a guy that's actually cast for Ezra. So it's like it's not necessarily a spoiler at this point that she's gonna find Ezra. Right. She's gonna find Thrawn. It's out in the wild space over on the western side of the galaxy. So that's what that is. If you don't know any of that stuff, you're like, cool, space whales in hyperspace. But that's it's like it is a giant fucking Easter egg. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay, like at first I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay. The other fun thing is that in the old Legends lore, which is now, the pre-Disney era, there was this whole thing about hyperspace hypnosis, where because you're going down this long sort of tunnel of light thing, and supposedly it could drive some people crazy, and some people came out of hyperspace with hyperspace sickness with instructions and missions and things like that. So
oh wow,
yeah, whether or not it was real, I can remember I had a guy come to like rent a room back when I was renting a room in my old place, and he was telling me about how he's got all these patents that he's trying to get cleared through the patent office, the these engineering designs that the alien sent him. And I was like, oh okay, yeah, you have a nice day, sir.
Not in this house. You're gonna do that important mission elsewhere, not here.
I'll keep looking for a tenant.
Very interesting.
But yeah, that whole thing was neat. It was neat.
Okay.
God, I wish I could remember the name of the planet he's jumping to.
Oh, they're jumping to Navarro.
Navarro. There we go.
Yeah, they're going to go see an old friend at a town that looks like a whole new town.
Man, Carl Weathers got some nice duds.
Doesn't he?
He got
High Magistrate Karga.
Right? High magistrate. High magistrate.
So okay, he kept leaning in on that high magistrate. What do you think we're supposed to take from it?
So the way I interpret this is that Navarro, the town, might have like somewhat elected put him in charge. Right? It seemed like after sort of stuff in like season 1 and season 2, he sort of turned a leaf over and like, oh, we can make this place nice.
Right.
Now, you look at him and he's also like, we can make a lot of fucking money. Like, and I think he's trying to put himself in a perceived position, not only with his own people, but like when outsiders come to negotiate, he needs to look like he is as in charge as possible. So it's not just the magistrate, the high magistrate. There's lower magistrates. I'm the high. It's like, dude, you're the only fucking magistrate.
Right. That's what I was trying to understand, because he was correcting bots from make even them say hi. So
I mean, look,
I was wondering about his concern about it.
The wrong approach. It is not the wrong approach. Like you're out there with no official government backing from a larger political entity. You might need to put on some airs. What is that great line from Game of Thrones? where do you think power resides? And the correct answer is where people believes it resides, right?
Yes.
So if
Yes.
he can present himself as having all this authority,
Hmm.
then hopefully that gives him more leverage. Though, as we see, he's still ready to throw down.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. I was almost surprised that that even went down because I didn't know it was going to be one of those kind of things where he's used to, talking all that kind of stuff, but can he really dish it out? So I thought it was kind of cool because I thought it was going to be a situation where Mando was going to flex and show his thing. So when he did it himself, I'm like, okay, I kind of wasn't expecting that.
Right? He
So,
flexed first.
yes, and I really did appreciate that.
And it is credit. I do appreciate the way they had his character try to approach. Should explain. Pirates showed up and they're like, "Hey, we want to go in our old bar. It's a school now. Don't." And he was like, "Let's go talk in my office."
No,
They're
no,
like,
but they want to drink at the school.
oh, oh,
At the
so
school.
they're not that dumb. That's the thing. Like there's a read on this where it's like these are dumb pirates. Like kids could read it that way. They're just dumb pirates. They don't know it's a school and they want to being jerks. But it's like this is a school now. Oh, it's your school. No. You were our punk.
Mm-hmm.
Like you paid us to do your violence, and we
Mhm.
worked for a bigger guy. We're used to like coming in here and doing whatever the hell we want, and
Mhm.
you're gonna tell us we can't go. And it's total dick measuring,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's dick measuring, 100%. Now, unfortunately, Carl Weather fucking fast drawing him much quicker. Shot him in the hand, which is like one. He's really fucking good if he can shoot someone in his hand as he's drawing his blaster.
Right.
Two, that is way too fucking nice.
Yes.
Like, he tried to like, yeah, you should just fucking go now. And then one of his other guys tries to draw, and then Mando's like, pow, 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 just lays out 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulda just killed all.
Yeah.
But that's not how good guys do things. They have to attack you first, then you have to be better than them.
Especially when you got a camera watching.
The audience.
I'm
certainly.
being funny. I'm being funny. Yeah, but yeah, us being the people who watching and they're on screen and they're being perceived as a good guy. So yes, for story reasons, they're supposed to do the right thing because we're watching.
Well, they got to do the right thing, but then also because of a scene they want to do later.
Yes.
They want that one hothead to go away. They want him to leave. The writers do.
Yes.
So he could come back later with more dumbasses.
But for a damn good fight scene. What? What? Wait. Wait a minute. Are we gonna have a rough season 3?
So let's talk about that scene. It's so funny. I'm having problems with all the action scenes.
I know. Okay. Wait. Okay, first, okay.
We gotta do it in order.
And we're almost there anyway. Okay. So that whole thing happens. The one bad guy is go run and go tell dad. And
right.
More than likely, they don't just go away. They're gonna come back with the big brothers and all that kind of stuff, right? And so Mando is there for a reason. Now, not only to see an old friend, but to try to pick up another friend that, this bot that he learned to trust, only bot that he seems to trust. And even though he's sacrificed himself before for them, and he's made to a statue that's in the town, he wants that bot back.
So I want to give a compliment to this setup.
Okay.
So, because, and they do previously on,
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, you see IG-88. I think it's IG-88. It's one of the 88s. He sacrifices himself in the lava, blah, 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 he dies.
Right.
Season 1. So, he comes into Navarro, you see Carl Weathers, and he's like, blah, 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 what are you here for? And he's like, I need a droid. And he's like, okay, but we got tons of droids. He's like, no, I need that old droid.
Right.
And he's like, but he's a statue now. And he's like, is that not his parts? Because the statue is like
Right.
all the arms and legs that got shot off, melted, burnt, destroyed are just like replaced with like brass, but like his torso and head
Right.
and one arm is like intact, and they just like piecemealed it all together with scotch tape to make the statue. And so eventually he convinces Carl Weather, like, no, really, I want to give it a try. Let me give it a try. And so in this transition shot where it's looking up to sort of Carl Weathers' office, in the foreground is the statue, or what's left to it, because clearly they just took the torso off of the statue.
And the rest just sitting there like one arm to the side.
Right? I was like, that was a nice bit.
Yeah.
That was a nice bit.
It was.
There were some odd pieces of humor, like, so he tries, somehow Jin can like repair fucking droids. I was like, whoa, step too far. Like, don't make your characters good at everything. But he's trying to like repair IG-88 in the magistrate's office, and he turns on and his lights come on, and his vision lights are like white, and he's like, hello, blah blah blah. And then he sees Grogu, and he's like, kill order initiated.
Right.
Because that was his original job, to
Yeah.
kill Grogu. So they had to fight him off, and he's like bulletproof. And so the other droid, the protocol droid, tips over a bust of Carl Weather as the magistrate, and it just smashes the IG-88 droid with the head of the bust.
Right.
And Mando goes, that's using your head. And I was just like, oh, look, I get it. You're lone wolf and cub, and you're in your dad vibes, but don't make dad jokes. Like, that's my job. Like, it was like,
this episode had moments like that, because even with the little thing I thought was kind of silly, but I still thought it was funny, was
right.
when the little gremlin guys were working on, repairing the robot, and he was, part of it was gibberish or a different language, and part of it was English. And Carl Weathers' character just
English.
Yeah, so Carl Weathers' character, even when it was clearly understood what they were saying, it was like, oh, he said he needs his piece. Oh, he said this can't be done. And Mando looking at him like, I understand that part.
Well, the funny thing is, that's the problem. Mando was looking at him, and he has a helmet on. So it's like, how good is Carl Weather going to read your body language?
Right.
You just glancing with your helmet. He does say, like, I got it. And,
yeah.
But the funny thing is, like, the first time I watched that scene, like, probably the first third to maybe half of what the little droid repair guy was saying was just like, what? And then it was like, wait, there's little bits in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it was like the second time through, I'm like, oh, wait. It's like baby babble all the way through. It is totally understandable.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, clever move.
Yes, I thought it was funny. So they had some silliness like that, and I thought it was light, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny, but I do get it. Yeah, the bus falling on top of the.
And the other thing is, of course, that is another nod to the sequels, because that is the droid repair guy that futzes around with C-3PO's head. That's the specific one. It's the specific one. They name drop him. There's more than one in that room, but they name drop him.
Okay.
And it's like, you know what? This is the maybe the nicest thing to come out of the Rise of Skywalker movie. Goddamn trash. But this scene, it was fun. It was fun. And it was, but the whole thing felt like a very long, drawn out. We are setting up a stepping stone for Jin before he goes to Mandalore. He needs a droid he can trust. Okay, cool. And then it's like, well, you're not going to be able to repair him yet, but if anyone can get the right parts, it's these guys. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go do other stuff. And it's like, oh, so why did you have us spend, I don't know, 5-8 minutes getting this plot line going to just walk away from it?
He did that before in other seasons, though. It's always been about him leaving this to come back for that, or come back for his ship to be repaired, or coming back for this, coming back for the armor, come back. It's always
like a whole episode, though. Like, it's not like I'm gonna take 5-10 minutes to go down and set up this plot path, get stuck, and then I'm gonna switch gears to this other thing. It's usually like I'm gonna spend a whole episode. Okay, as far as I can take this, I'm gonna have to wait. Now I'm gonna go and do this other thing, blah blah blah. And it felt weird because it's like it's setting up this whole episode, and I saw it described online, some article somewhere. I was like, yep, 100% is they're setting the table. They're setting the table, right? It's like they gotta do the quickest version of a recap. What's the status quo for Jin? He's exiled. He needs to go back to Mandalore. Okay, cool. Well, first step on that is I need IG-88. Okay, we go through this whole thing. Can you get IG-88 right now? Nope. Okay, some other people are gonna go do a plot quest for you and get the thing they need. All right, we're gonna go to not Mandalore and talk to what's your face. But as we leave the planet, the pirates come back.
Of course they do.
I really wanted to be impressed by this. So there's a funny bit in this. They try to shoot down Jin in his fucking Naboo starfighter, which is just like, guys, you're gonna get pwned. Don't you realize that's a main character ship?
You stupid.
But there's this funny bit right at the beginning.
Oh, boy.
Like, there's part of me that's like, I don't like that, and part of me like, nah, that's funny. So right at the beginning, they're like, hey, you shot our buddies. And you're like, in fucking self-defense. Is what he should have said repeatedly, like, in self-defense. And you're going to attack me now, so I'm going to kill you in self-defense. But Grogu's sitting on Jin's lap, right? And they start to pilot around, and he just does like a barrel roll or two, like dodging laser fire.
Right.
And there's a bit where it's inverted, like the exterior shot ends, and his starfighter is inverted. And so the interior shot, they're upside down, inverted, and Grogu slips out of Jin's lap as if gravity is pulling him out of the seat because they're inverted upside down. And it's just like, haha, that's funny, but also, you're in space. The only gravity is the gravity your ship is you wouldn't fall out of the seat. So it's like my brain got the joke that it's like, they're upside down. Whoop, the kid's falling out of the seat. But it's also like, that's not how that works. I just like, let it go, whatever.
So out of that whole battle, that's what caught your eye.
That's one of the things that caught my eye. I mean, so the interesting thing too is like, so there's a certain point where Jin, at this point, like 3 of them show up, and then 3 more show up, and they're all following him, and Jin sort of darts behind an asteroid, and then we as the audience lose sight of him. The bad guys lose sight of him, and now we're in a horror movie where Jin is the monster.
He's Jaws.
And on that approach, it works. It didn't do anything for me. Like, on one level, and certainly watching it the second time, I was like, dude, is Jin super good at this too? Like, I don't know.
So with this season, so what's the rub? So is it that the level and the maturity of Andor was kind of the ideal situation, I think, as far as like the storytelling for me, how practical it felt, just the way it moved. It was very
yes,
real world, right?
I do think there's a little bit of.
And so now we're going back to this, and really this is what we started off with and loved. Then the other shows couldn't quite get this, and then we moved into Star Wars for adults. And so going back to this, if that was making this kind of like, would you have felt the same way about this particular episode if you didn't experience Andor?
There might be some of that.
Because I feel that way too in a ways, but I still remember this is kind of how this was before. But I do feel like, oh, we're back to, okay, so it's going to be.
I think it's fairly consistent. I think there was just some sort of scene by scene decisions that I was kind of like making Jin. I mean, one, I didn't believe he was going to get hurt. I didn't believe he was going to get hurt. Did not believe he was going to get hurt. Not just because he's the main character, and them getting shot in that little ship, they're going to get fucking toasted. Didn't believe it. But, and this is a complaint I kind of had overall, even though we'll get to it. So, Jin, as per usual, is just stone cold, stoic, calm the whole way through. Which I get it, that is absolutely 100% consistent. But it's wearing off on me. So for this scene in particular, if he had just been like, hang on, kid, right? Just one or two comments where something in his voice is indicating, oh shit, right? Just a bit. Then it'd be like, oh, okay. Now I'm on board with his worry. But otherwise, there's nothing. And granted, again, they went with the like, we're gonna make him Jaws.
What you just described, do you feel that they did that before in the other seasons?
No, again, this is very consistent with
Okay.
how he is portrayed.
Yeah, I do hear
but I can't think of specific instances, but there's times through I'm not gonna get his name right, Pablo Pascal's voice acting. There's times where you can hear the tension in his voice, right?
Right.
And there was none of that in the whole episode. So part of my complaint with this little segment is like, he just wasn't worried whatsoever because he's Jaws. Okay, fine. In the armorer scene, and again, this is entirely consistent, he's very flat, right? He's very flat most of the time. But even in that episode of Book of Boba Fett where he first gets told, like, you're out, and he's like, can I atone? I can atone. But it's all very flat. But it's like, what I kind of needed, especially on that scene in particular, is like, sell me on his investment.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like one of the things where it's like, okay, he wants to get back in, but there's also no like, why? Right? Why do I need to get back in? Right? Because theoretically it's like, well, I can just keep following the code. I messed up once and I may be exiled, but I can just keep following the code on my own. Why do I need to rejoin? Right? And there's no vocal fry in his urgency to do this. Like, I gotta do it for Grogu, I gotta do it for this. I have the dark saber. If I can reclaim my status as a Mandalorian, then maybe I can delude myself into thinking we can truly reclaim Mandalore, like something. But it's just like, I want to rejoin my cult. I'm gonna go do the thing. I'll be back. Let you know how it goes. And it's consistent. But like, there's times where through the voice acting, you can give us way more than just, yep, I'm gonna go to the grocery store, I'll be back in a week.
I will agree that I feel like that level of voice acting isn't the same as it was before. Because I will tell you, like in the first season, after that season had wrapped up and you see behind the scenes stuff, I was surprised it wasn't him under the helmet all the time. It was that lined up, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times it'd be like, oh, that voice out of that body, it doesn't seem like it's on the same page, you know? But it always really felt like it was on the same page. Like I said, I was shocked that he wasn't really. Now, I even thought maybe, even though he might be doing the voice over again, at least he was in the helmet originally. I'm like, no, he got somebody else that's in the, you know, in the costume kind of doing the stuff for, you know, a lot of the scenes, and you could not tell.
I'm gonna get his name right, Lateef Chowder. And I know him, not personally, I know of him back in the day, like when I was trying to do my own Star Wars fan film, there was a group of like fight choreographer guys that were putting out their own little like stunt reels and stuff out of the San Jose area, and Lateef was one of them.
Oh wow!
Like I remember from way back in the day, he was in the Muay Thai martial arts star. He was in one of his fights. Anyway, I'm getting off track. But he's a stunt guy, and so he does almost all of Jin Darin with the helmet on, because he can just be like, all right, now we're gonna rig for a stunt. Right. But yeah, I don't know. From writing wise, performance wise, there wasn't just any oomph to what was happening.
Yeah,
it just wasn't any oomph. The end part of that scene where it's like, oh, I shoot all the rest of your guys, and like, oh, hey boss, I'm flying them back to you. Just like, you should have done that in the first fucking place. But it's like, all right, it was a cool, dope looking capital ship that the pirate the Pirate King, whatever.
Yeah.
It looks like a variant on like the Hammerhead. And clearly I feel like the whole Pirate King thing is like, oh, he's showing up again. You're not going to go and spend that much time designing that ship, designing this wackadoodle looking space pirate thing.
Look like Davy Jones, but made out of seaweed or something and kelp.
I mean, it was cool with the glowy red eyes. I was like, all right. But the scene was also flat for me. It's unfortunate.
And so they're making their way to a planet, and they land
at a Mandalorian castle.
Yes.
Pretty cool looking.
There's a droid that meets them there.
Okay, so before they go inside,
yeah,
what was the thing that made me go, come on, Jin, get with it, man. Get with it. So he gets out. Grogu hops out behind him. Droid's there. It's raining. He does not close the canopy on his starfighter. So the rain is filling up his fucking cockpit. And it's even one of the things where it's like, okay, let's pretend, he takes 2 steps away. We just don't see it. But it's like, come on, dude. You would have gotten like half a step out, grabbed the kid, and closed that thing immediately. No one's letting their starfighter cockpit fill up with rainwater. No.
But you didn't even see Grogu get out of the ship, man.
Know.
It went from him being in the ship to him outside the ship, and he's floating in this thing, and he's following along. Oh.
Did I get grumpy? I
think
grumpy?
so, man. I think so. Hey, now grumpy and making legit points is 2 different things. So I'm not saying you're making up stuff, because you're making great points. It's the truth. It's just funny though. Okay, so who do they see when they walk in?
They see Starbuck. They see Katie Sackhoff. Oh, why can I not remember? Bo-Katan. Words have come out of my brain. She's like, you want to talk grumpy, man. Ooh, she's not doing great. Sitting on her throne.
What was that about? I kind of.
She's actual royalty.
Oh.
She's actually like head of a clan in Mandalore, which is like their royal families. So yeah.
Okay.
And the backstory is, so here's the fun thing: the Darksaber did not show up first in the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett. It showed up first in, I do believe it was the Clone Wars, or it might have been. I know it also showed up in Rebels as well. Dave Filoni's fingerprints all over it. Problem is Bo-Katan has had the Darksaber before. So someone from the Rebels crew, Sabine, won the Darksaber in combat off someone, and had a whole thing where she had to learn how to use it. But she's like, yeah, no, I'm not about rebuilding Mandalore. I'm about fucking up the Empire. You, Bo-Katan, here, I'll give it to you. And Bo-Katan knew that the Darksaber is only supposed to be won in combat. Otherwise, you have the curse of the Darksaber. But she didn't believe in it.
Oh.
So she took it and she tried to lead the Mandalorian resistance, and they got stomped. So that's why in season 2, where the Darksaber shows up on the Mandalorian show, there's a bit where Jin's like, "Here, you can have it." And she's like,
right.
She's like, "I've been burned once." She's like, "Oh, I still want it. I still want it, but no." She's like the equivalent of like an atheist who's like, "I had a run-in with a ghost. Like, I'm just like, I don't believe in anything else. I don't believe in anything else." That ghost,
right?
That one, I believe in that ghost. No other ghost. That ghost. That one.
I love it.
I can't. I want to take it. I want to take it. So it sucks. Like, and like, she didn't come back with the Darksaber, so her followers left. And there was something about a lost, like a stolen fleet or something. I don't remember that plot point. I don't know if they stole Moff, what's his face, ship, and that's supposed to be their fleet, but it's like everyone basically abandoned the cause.
It looked very empty in there, so I thought it was kind of weird that she was just sitting there alone on that throne. Like, was she there all day? That's what she do all day. What else is going on? So,
right.
So even the setup for that was kind of interesting. So I was like, huh.
I would have appreciated this. I would have appreciated the small thing of just like have her armor on an armor stand beside her, and just have her be in non-armor Mandalorian clothes, because like there's Mandalorians that don't dress in armor all the time. Let her sink into her funk even further.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought it looked weird, like I said, for the fact of her to be like a big old castle and she to be the only one there. Like I said, you see that one droid, but that's about it. And like I said, would she just be sitting there? That would be how she would spend her days. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be dramatic and powerful, but
the mood lighting didn't match.
Right, it just didn't feel right.
There's parts of it where it seems like walking up in the hall, there seems like there's windows that are kind of shuttered, but then behind her there's like a window that is clearly opening. The bright light is coming in, even if it's supposed to be raining, and it's tricky. Like, I feel like if Dave Filoni was like, "All right, we're going to do this for the adult crowd," like, she would have been drinking. It, like, everything would have just been more like, "Oh, she's fucking depressed." Like, and she was just like, "I'm not happy," but it's like kid not happy, which is like, it's fine, but it just didn't land as well.
A point I wanted to make, and you saying that kind of validates what I was thinking. This episode and the things, like the battle with the pirates and stuff like that, and her sitting on the throne, like those things you could get away with on animation, but for them to do it in real world, it doesn't sit the same. A real person sitting there is kind of like, you kind of read it differently. Even the scene with in the beginning with the alligator turtle, if that was kind of like animated or something, that would kind of still be off, but you would kind of let it slide because of that. In the yells with animation, you would let that go, but when it's supposed to be kind of real, I don't know, it's just different when you play with that, and you're trying to have the hits and kind of the vibe of a cartoon or something animated.
And Star Wars has had, like, to the yelling thing, they've had the Wilhelm scream,
right,
like they have those bits, but it didn't fit, for whatever reason. I think also, like, to your point of her just sitting on the throne, it's like, yo, is that all she's doing? That's what she's doing? Like, if it had been
like when Boba Fett did that was badass. When he was sitting on the throne on Jabba the Hutt.
It's also shot differently. It's a hero shot.
That's true too.
Like, I think they just could have done more with the cinematography. I don't know who's directing the episode. I might have to look that up.
It's one of the producers, that Rick something.
The tone, the approach, like how they shot it, lighting, is like, it was kind of just like aside from just like, where'd all your people go? Oh, they're gone. Because that's it. It's like, oh, they're gone. Like, it's like, what's the point? He's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to Mandalore. And then it's just kind of rehashing the same sort of things from the armor of like, it's fucking poisoned. It's they glassed it. He's like, I'm fucking going. She's like, all right, cool. This is where the mines are. Have fun.
Right, right.
But the other thing is, like, at this point, it's like, well, clearly the planet's not poisoned. He's like, is it poisoned? Clearly not. Or it's going to be something where it's like they're actively putting poison out, and if you just blow up the poison generators,
Right.
it just, so much of this episode is like, there's bits where it's like, we're doing setup. It's like, welcome to season 3, let's catch you up. But then there's like, do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need this? This is the same thing. And it's like, it just felt like a bunch of like kind of filler and setup, and there was no emotional oomph to it.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like, we know you're coming in after season 1 and season 2. You're already on board. We don't need to give you an oomph of Jin giving his I Want song, right? Or just like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna watch it. Not super jazzed off the first episode. And if other people enjoyed it and had a blast, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do know why. It's all the things I just bitched and moaned about. Like,
hey, this is how you felt about it. To me, I thought it was okay for the first episode, and I thought it was just kind of recapping not only last season but what happened in between. And like I said, it was just like a little simple intro. It was, like I said, it was a short one. It wasn't really anything really grand. It was very basic. That's why when you said you wanted to talk about it, like I said, I'm down to talk, but I was also kind of surprised because I didn't know that you felt that way about the episode. So
I
that
tried
explains
not
more.
to give it away.
No, you did. You did good. You did good. I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool then. Like, I thought it was cool, but it's very basic, very simple. And even the thing that would have been like, oh, that was dope that, you know, we got a flashback and we got to see that, even that was a fake out. So it was almost like nothing really was really going on this one. It really wasn't. Like, this could have been talked about as far as like on the show. And it was like, you know, I went here and about, like, they could have skipped all this. Like, this could have been.
So here's the other thing that's off the top of my head here. So the whole thing with the Darksaber is it's basically Excalibur for the Mandalorians. And Jin is not Arthur. Jin is not Arthur.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm not even gonna try to say he's one of the other knights. I don't know Arthurian legend enough to like, but he is not a leader. I've never seen him do anything that is leading of people, because he's emotionally stunted, right? He is emotionally stunted, and that is his whole arc. Is he's coming into having feelings, caring for other people, right? That is the whole sort of arc that we're seeing so far. He is not going to lead Mandalore with the Darksaber. So then the question becomes, who's going to win it off of him? Because that's at this point, like, yeah, I don't think he's gonna give it away to anyone. It's just like,
so could it be a Chronicles of Riddick kind of situation where he falls into the throne and leadership even though he didn't want it, kind of thing?
I think he would genuinely turn it down. So like,
that's fair.
He would be someone that would follow the cause, right?
Right.
He would be the one where he would follow someone else in restoring Mandalore. I think he would be all on board for that crusade. But I don't think he would be the one to go, I'm the person to lead.
I agree.
He would never, and I think if it was like, yep, you're in charge, like you fell on the throne, you killed the one person that the Riddick approach. I think he'd just be like, no, someone else fucking do it. Now, there's a version where he just goes about doing what he needs to do for his quest, and it causes other people to start following him. But there's a big difference between, oh, that guy's doing the right thing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna follow him and being in charge. And that's the thing. It's like, you might be a really great fighter. You might be our best warrior. You might be so noble.
Mhm.
But are you gonna coordinate an army? Like,
Right.
are you gonna be a figurehead? Like, I would also think if I was setting the path for this character,
Mhm.
putting him in charge of a big political movement ruins the character. Not in that like it changes who he is, but it
Right.
changes what you can do with him, because now he's a politician.
Right.
Right now he's a general, now he's a strategist. He is not Lone
Mhm.
Wolf and Cub.
Mhm.
So he is going to have to lose the mantle, which is the Darksaber. And I will bet you a movie ticket that it's going to be Sabine from Rebels. Because just like in season 2, Ahsoka shows up, I would not be surprised if Sabine now, as another teaser for the Ahsoka show, shows up, probably on Mandalore, runs into him, and she might be like, yo, that's mine. That Darksaber's mine, and I'm taking it back. And also, I know how to fucking use it. And she's set up as a badass character on her own. So then she goes off with the Darksaber, blah, 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 whatever.
That sounds good.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Disney wants to do with the Mandalorians. Because that's and keep in mind the whole like the fall of Mandalore, like all this is all Dave Filoni. It's all his. This is totally his baby. And so it's not even so much what Disney wants to do with Mandalore, but it's what Dave Filoni wants to do with Mandalore. The planet, the people, like the whole thing. Are they going to come back? Are they going to be able to reclaim their planet, or are they going to be scattered to the winds? So I don't know. Like there's lots of truly epic stuff, and like I don't doubt that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are gonna nail the end of the season, because season 1 and season 2 really strong finishes, generally good episodes, but just this one, it was just like, can you get out of first gear? Like, get out of first gear, guys. Like, come on, give me in the second gear, give me in the third gear. Like, you don't have to get out of the fourth, but like,
That's
it
fair.
didn't feel like like what they needed to do, writing wise and emotionally wise, is that little hot rod button, the Nas button on his starfighter that just jumps them out of tricky situations. They needed that kickstart, and it just didn't happen this episode. Maybe the next one, like, it's just kind of milk toast.
I feel you.
It feels harsh, but
no, it's fair. I agree with your prediction. That sounds about right.
I mean, because it's either going to be Bo-Katan or Sabine, or just someone they haven't introduced yet. I do not think he is going to end the season with the Darksaber.
That's fair. One thing I really thought, if anything, that he's going to find his redemption by the end, but I don't know what that would mean for him and Grogu or him or anything else.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because that is an interesting thing. Because this might turn out to be one of those instances where it's like his character growth might be letting go of his specific creed. Right? Still going to be a Mandalorian, but he just may not follow that part of the creed. Right? Because like the whole mask thing is just a metaphor for being emotionally shut off. Right? And so, and it's been this whole process of getting him to open up. So he might go all the way through and complete his quest and then take his helmet off again. Right? Because then it's gone, I've gone down this path after this thing I think I want,
Right.
but along the way I learned it was the friends we made along the way,
Right.
right? And
The
it's
truth
like
of the situation.
the truth of the situation is I don't need to do this part of the creed.
Yes.
And if that makes me an apostate, okay, that makes me an apostate. But I will still fight for Mandalore. I will still fight for the people I care about. But like, maybe this isn't healthy. I watched this whole video today where they were breaking down the recent God of War Ragnarok, right, with Kratos, right?
Yeah.
And Kratos has a son now, and they're dealing with the Norse, and it's like it's this whole similar thing of like generational trauma and like breaking yourself out of fate, and it's like, is that the thing that I want? And then like getting almost there and going like, we gotta pivot, or we're just gonna like actually have Ragnarok happen, and it's just like that little amount of growth of, oh, we should do something, we should be better, we should just be just a little bit better, let's try and just be a little bit better and not murder everyone.
Right.
So I think that emotional arc of development for Jin might lead him to absolutely 100% complete his quest.
Right.
And then go back to his people and being like, take his helmet off and like, so this part of the creed I can't follow anymore.
Yeah.
The rest of the creed, totally on board for. But this shuts me off.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to shut off anymore.
Right. Like the kid needs this.
The kid needs this. The kid needs this, right?
Right.
I mean, that would be a great fucking way to have his arc go, because like the plot components, that's the excitement, fun things of ooh, are they gonna but it's like, what's the emotional payoff that we want at the end?
Right.
Because I'm a fucking role-playing nerd, right? Dungeons and Dragons and shit.
That's right.
There was a interview recently that was put together by the people at Critical Role, right? They have the biggest streaming thing, but they also had 2 guest GMs, game masters, Brennan Lee Mulligan and Abria something, I think. I can't remember her full name. They're on like Roll20. They're like the most popular streaming dungeon masters. And they got to deal with like actors, comedians, like all sorts of chaos. They are really, really good. And they had like an hour and a half, 2 hour long, just chat about like being dungeon masters and like this and that.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about this whole thing about like railroading, which is the idea of like you're forcing your players down sort of a predefined path.
Right.
Right. And so Brennan was talking about like how there's this sort of struggle between what the player wants to experience and what the character wants, because your character, right, has a goal. I'm at the top of the hill and I want to follow this river straight down the hill to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any deviations, right? That's what any of us wants. We want the easy path, the direct path. The players, though, they don't want that. They don't want to show up and like, I fulfilled my life's work. Like, oh, I'm an apostate now. Oh, okay, I'm going to fly back to Mandalore, and oh, look, it's not poisoned, and oh, there's the entrance, and I'm going to walk in, and boom, I've anointed myself. Good, I'm fine now. Like, we, the audience, and like the thing is in role-playing, like the players are the audience, right? I mean, even outside of like streaming, that is your primary audience, the players. The players want you as the storyteller to take that straight river flowing downhill and throw tropes and narrative twists and turn it left and turn it right and flip it around in a loop and do all these deviations of the unexpected path that gets in the way of your character's straight progression. And now you get to the end of this deviated stream, and now it takes the form of a story instead of a person just getting what they want. Right. And so that's like, all the plot stuff is just all the narrative twists and turns, but it's like those twists and turns shouldn't just be like, well, here's another obstacle. Oh, you don't have the droid parts. The droid won't come alive. Oh, you got to do this. It has to be the emotional twist as well, right? To have that bit of character development, if not chunks of character development. So anyway, random tangent.
Yeah, that's the art of storytelling, and you could get there, many ways, but you want the one that you're gonna get the most out of. You want to be able to use the juice that you're squeezing.
Yeah, hopefully they squeeze the juice a little more effectively.
Let's hope so. Took me a minute to get back used to the vibe of it, and it was just on a different level. And so with that, it's just like, oh, okay, we're back to
high adventure. It's high adventure, right? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Back to PG-13. I was at rated R, and I'm not saying rated R for necessarily sex and violence. I'm meaning just maturity.
That's the amazing thing. It was like rated R without being remotely rated R.
It was complex. It was just and now I'm back to like, okay, all the kids can ride on this together, and it's fine. And like I said, I'm not knocking it. It got all the pieces. It got baby Grogu. He's still cute. Got the familiar faces. You got the bots that are kind of quirky. You got the space pirate, and you got the pirate fight and all that. Fun characters, bright, colorful, funny, all that stuff, and it's cool. But like you said, once he gets it, he might just give it up, because most things are like that. You go chasing, and when you get it turns out to be something else, or you just needed the journey to get there to confirm that you don't need what your journey was even for in the first place.
Right? So wait, because Disney princesses classically have the I want X, and then it turns out, oh, I really needed Y. Is Jin gonna become a Disney princess? Yeah. You want smartass? I'm right there with you.
These days, it's possible. These days, nothing surprised me, and anything's possible. We'll see. We'll see. He already has his magical pet that speaks to him. So, a la Jiminy Cricket, a la Thumper, or any other of those creatures that seem to speak.
Jiminy Cricket. He is this Jiminy Cricket.
Right.
He totally is.
Right. So, it's quite possible. Yeah, man. So, it was great catching up. It's funny, like I said, time goes by so fast. I don't know how to take that. But I do enjoy our conversations as always. The icing on top of the cake of the Star Wars shows, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think we covered everything.
I think we covered everything from the show, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got my tinfoil hat predictions out there, so.
Yeah, I think you got winners with this one. I wouldn't be mad at that if that turns out to be the situation.
Right? It's like they don't always have to perfectly surprise us. They maybe like the specifics of it.
Just be confident.
Right?
Hey, before we sign off, man, is that it says Bud's? Is that Bud's Burger?
Oh yeah, this is Bud's Burgers.
Dude.
40th anniversary shirt.
Dude, so you got that from Bud's?
Oh yeah, I got it from Bud's. I got a plan sometime to like, on a day where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go into Vallejo.
Yeah.
Let's wear the shirt in the morning, go back. It's been like a while since I've been back to Bud's.
Let me know when you go, man. The manager, Anthony, he listens to our show.
He does. Like when I was in there, like he would recognize me, not from the show. He like knew I had a kid, like all that sort of stuff. Like,
man, those some good folks, man. He's good. He's good people. And every time we go in there, we talk geek and stuff. And like, oh, did you see the movie? Blah blah blah. Oh, I heard your podcast about this. That. So we kind of talk, and it's so funny because people be looking like, what are you guys talking about? And we just kind of, so we're sitting there and we're just kind of catching up with everything. But he's a good dude.
I'm gonna be thrilled if he's in there, and I get to be like, hey, so Jay's other podcast, the Star Wars nerd.
I think that was dope. So when I saw that T-shirt, I was like, "That is right on." It was like, okay, that's one of my spots. So folks who are listening that are in the Bay Area and or in Vallejo, California, you gotta go by and check out Bud's Burgers. One of my favorite burgers, personally. But
Oh, good. Oh, best.
Yeah, I've been eating them since high school. That's how long. I used to get the special, and it came in the brown paper bag, and there'd be so much oil from those fries. I love those fries.
Man.
But the bag be full of fries, and yeah, man. Oh, yeah. So I go there maybe more often than I should, but but at least a couple times a month for sure. But yeah, man. So it was great catching up with you. Great seeing you as always. I'm looking forward to our next one. Fingers crossed.
Oh, hell yes.
So, all right. So it's been Jay and
Nerdy Derp-a-Derp.
Ryan.
There you go. That's the official title now. Ryan, Nerdy Derpy Derp. Extraordinaire.
I'm sure it'll change.
Oh, excuse me. I need to go look for my dignity. Where did I leave it?
All right. Till next time. Peace.
In the galaxy.
Okay, we'll take it.
Oh, man.
Hey, it's Jay. If you enjoyed my conversation with Ryan, please check out our episodes where we talked about The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Spider-Man No Way Home, and the movie Batman. Thanks for listening, and until next time, peace.